The number of proficiency checks in the sim that I administered and the number of type rides and my own, I've never seen a perfect check ride, ever.
I'm Jason Miller, a full-time professional flight instructor. On the Finer Points channel, you can join me as I bring you tips and tricks that I've learned from 20 years on the flight line. Hello aviators, and welcome back to the Finer Points. You know, I've been getting a lot of requests about a video for check rides, right? How to prepare for check rides, how to succeed on check rides, how to deal with check rides coming out of this COVID-19 shelter-in-place thing. And I'm going to give you 5 sort of quick pointers that'll guarantee, or at least contribute to, your success on any upcoming check ride. The first thing I would tell you is make sure you get the test off to a good start. It's my opinion that a check ride is pretty much won or lost in the first 45 minutes, so make sure all of the I's are dotted and all of the T's are crossed. You should know what your aeronautical experience requirements are. It's no excuse that your CFI didn't do it or didn't tell you, so make sure you go back to Part 61 and look at everything you're supposed to have done. Make sure you can prove that you've done that in your logbook. Make sure your logbook looks good and that the endorsements you're bringing into the test look good. You've completed the IACRA. I mean, you get where I'm going. You don't want to go in there and give the examiner problems straight away. You want to get that test off to a smooth start. By the time you get there, you're really already there. I mean, your CFI thinks you're ready, your phase check pilot thinks you're ready, hopefully you think you're ready, and all you have to do now is show this one particular individual on one day that you're there, that you have the skills, that you have the knowledge, but more important than any of that, that you're going to be a safe pilot in the National Airspace System. But I recently had a chance to sit down with Steve Randall, who goes online as Redwood Bus Driver. Steve is a captain for a major U.S. airline. Try and figure out which one. Anyway, Steve and I were talking about this very thing. You know, he used to be an examiner, and we got to talking about how to succeed on a check ride. And I think some of the practical things we get into really at the end of the day contribute to success more than any of the little specific things you might do right or might do wrong.
The number of proficiency checks in the sim that I administered and the number of type rides and my own, I've never seen a perfect check ride, ever.
Right.
Ever. And I have 10,000 hours in the Airbus.
Right.
My last check in the sim, I wait for it, you know, like, okay, well, that's the one, that's it. And actually, funny enough, it's almost now, I want to get my mistake out of the way.
Right.
Because once that's out of the way, then I can get on with the rest of the check ride. Many of those candidates, it was their first type rating.
Right.
And so, again, here's where we go back. They're super nervous.
Yeah.
You know, their family's waiting for the phone call back home.
Yeah.
You know, they've been studying all night. They probably haven't slept. And in my mind, I try to put myself in their position and think, that was me.
Yeah.
And so I have to recognize that. And so now, what is my job? Is my job to blast off with, what's the max altitude of this airplane?
Right.
No. My first job is, how are things going? I can remember when they signed me off as an examiner, the POI, our Principal Operations Inspector, really nice guy, he said, look, all I care about is that that my wife is going to turn up on one of the flights that your candidate is going to fly as captain.
Yeah.
I just want to know that she's safe.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
That's your litmus test. Am I going to be comfortable enough to put my wife on? So now you turn that for yourself into, would you put your wife on board with this guy? Right. And that was it.
Another thing you want to consider is the ACS. You know, we hear all this talk about not training for a test. But at the end of the day, this is a test you have to take, right? So if you're not sure what you need to know, what you don't need to know, what you need to memorize, what you don't, really review the ACS. I mean, go through each task in the ACS and make sure that you understand all of the knowledge items, make sure you can do all the skills and that you have a strategy for considering the risk around every single maneuver. Really think it through. You've got that time to do it, and that'll go a long way toward being successful. Also, remember that the first few tasks in the ACS are your oral. So go ahead and lay out all your textbooks, go through each one of those tasks that take you out to the airplane, weather, airspace, all of that, pilot responsibility, all of that stuff, and make sure there's nothing in there that you don't understand or can't talk through. And if there is, write it down and go talk to your CFI about it. Another thing you might want to consider is, not trying to memorize every single thing. There's all these acronyms, tomatoes aflame, tamfoodle, zoodaloop, and all these various things. Maybe it's not important to memorize everything, and you want to spend that brain power carefully.
When I went for my first type rating, I did the same thing that most people do. I think it's just human nature, which is, okay, what the books that I've been given and what they're telling me, it's not enough. Right. It's not enough. I need more. And I need these books, and I need these cheat sheets, and I need all of this stuff. And what ends up happening is you fill your brain with all of this stuff that is you don't have the capacity to hold the good stuff.
Right.
The good stuff's what the people that know what you need to pass the Checkride. That's the good stuff. Yeah. Those are the people to listen to. When I became an examiner in the CRJ, that's when it was really obvious. The people that would struggle the most were the people that had tried to memorize so much stuff that I couldn't memorize. I was an examiner on the airplane. I didn't have the brain capacity to memorize the kind of stuff that these guys were trying to memorize. I want to know that you understand the system. Yeah. You know what part you play if that system goes wrong. And just an overall general safety knowledge of the safety of the system.
My good friend Dr. Howard Donner has a saying that he teaches us on our airplane camp trips, and also that he uses to teach ER docs, and that is, don't just do something, sit there. So I think on a check ride or in an emergency situation, when it really matters, it's important to kind of take a breath, move slowly, and move with intention.
Just take a breath. Just hold on for a second. Yeah. There's virtually nothing that needs your microsecond response. Right. Just calm down. Yeah. And take a breath, and then begin the process. Understand what just happened. Yeah. Now, what do you have to do about it? The old movies of airline pilots, just doing things and pushing buttons and, okay, right. I think I saved it. Yeah. Oh, no, that's so far from reality. It's it's funny. I said, my wife really wants to come and see us in the simulator. She's a private pilot as well.
Oh, cool.
And I'd love for her to see this, but it's some you have an engine fire. Yeah. And the first thing that happens is nothing. Yeah. Because we have to first of all ensure that we're flying the airplane. Right. There's one thing with this COVID thing that I've realized is that when you say that you have candidates going for check rides, I'm sure they must be thinking, well, I haven't had a chance to fly, I haven't had a chance to practice, and a lot of airline pilots are in the same position. We're at home, we're not flying. I just went back to work for the first time in 4 weeks a couple of days ago, and so I approached it slightly differently. It's still as familiar as it always was, and I'm flying with a guy that we use our SOPs that make it easy. We understand each other's roles. We know what we're going to do. We know what we're going to say. But I just took my time and slowed down a little bit.
Aviators, that's all for this episode of The Finer Points. A huge thanks to Steve Randall for sitting down to chat about some of that stuff, and a huge thanks to the sponsors and to the patrons. If you want a lot of extra content, bonus content, all of the archives from my daily live sessions on Instagram, long-form lesson videos, just all sorts of stuff, all of that's available at patreon.com/learntfp. Ground School is now in the App Store. There's also a free trial of that app if you want to download it and take a look at what's in there, see if that's right for you. Also, it looks like we are running airplane camp this summer, so if you'd like to come socially distance with us in the mountains of California, please let us know. You can come to learnthefinerpoints.com. Big thanks to you, the best fans on the internet, for watching this video. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share far and wide with your friends. I'm Jason Miller, and until next time, be safe and fly your best.